Hi everybody, today I am talking with Anne Skinner, who is a wonderful creative artist and I've known for almost a year and a half now. And yeah, we've been on quite a little transformational journey together.
That's the operative word.
Yes. But one thing that really does touch me about you, Anne, is your creativity. And when people see our little green logo, it's from Anne. It's
a little munchkin.
Yeah, my little green munchkin. It's Anne. Anne's creativity. So, you know, have you always been creative? Is that always been you? And have you always created in the way that you do now?
The answer is yes and no, because they're two questions. But first of all, do you actually realize the answer is probably more no, because it's a rediscovery. And it's a rediscovery of something I didn't realize I had. And this is the first time that I've actually been introduced as a creative artist. So I'm like really, that's really exciting for me. And that shows you how new this is to me still. I started my doodling, as I call it. I call myself a doodle artist, maybe just to keep it a little bit small because I'm still trying to, fit that jacket of being an artist. But only really since you and I met each other, not long before that, is when I started to doodle. But as a child, I loved coloring. And to the extent that I won competitions. So I obviously always loved it, and I always loved colors, but I always thought I couldn't draw. So I never pursued it at all until only 2 years ago when I fell into it.
Yeah, and you fell into it beautifully because I don't know if you have any examples. Do you have any examples of your work there, Anne, to show us at all?
Yes, I do actually. Here's a bag that I created with my doodles, my buzzing.
Yeah.
So that's actually quite recent. The last few months, people have started saying to me, well, can you put them on products for me? I'd love it on the mug. So I started to play with that. I also created a desk calendar at the beginning of this year. Let's see, I love this is October, and it also has a little, this is already, you can see my work has really progressed from just a year ago.
Yeah.
And it says, time to let go of all that doesn't serve you.
Yeah, and that's what I love as well about your work is it always has wonderful little messages in it. And it resonates with what you call yourself, because the label you refer to yourself as is a Heartworker.
That's right.
And yes, and that is where all these little drawings come from.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to refer to my work, the writing that I did and all the doodles that I did and I shared with the people that followed me. I used to refer to it as my hard work. So, and then, so from that, a year ago, well, in business terms, you just call it rebranded as the Heartworker, because it just couldn't be anything else, really. It was always going to be that. And that's because it literally comes from here. It's absolutely where I create from and where I like to write from and where I like to coach from as well, because obviously I'm also a coach. And I love how now the work is kind of all the aspects that I love so much are coming together in a way that, well, I don't even know where it's going yet. That's the exciting part of it.
Yeah. That's the beauty of you as well, that you do actually really do go with the flow of everything. And you aren't afraid either of new experiences or challenging yourself, if you like, to experience new things, or?
Well, I am and I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, I am, because I am human, and I do feel really fearful, and I do worry about what people think. And I think it's part of life. It's part of humanity, isn't it? To be fearful. But I'm not, because I'm also perhaps a little bit more excited sometimes than fearful. And it's kind of the same coin, isn't it? It's the other side of that coin. Fear and excitement are that closely linked. And when I'm in my head and I create all the stories, all the things that are there designed to keep me safe, I was going to say a bad word. I am really, really scared. But when I am in my heart, I'm rarely scared. Or even if I am, I don't have to engage with it. I think that's really the key thing. It stops me from engaging with it, and it shows me what's actually real. Yeah,
and that is an extremely important point that you've just made there. What is real and what is not.
Right.
And the importance of the heart in the discovery of that as well is also very clearly voiced in there. Because it's so easy to come off our axis and get involved in emotions over the core divine sovereign feelings that we know we should be in. And it's like when you said at the beginning you knew you loved art, but you felt you couldn't draw.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the difference between being in the heart space and not being, because you know you can, and yet you tell yourself that you can't all the time from here.
Totally. And I think the brain is always thinking about, is judging it, isn't it? Is it good or is it bad? Right? Is it good or is it bad? Or even if it's indifferent, all of that is what you're constantly doing. You're measuring, like you're measuring time. How long is it taking me? And all of that you judge. And when you're actually in your heart space, none of that matters, because it's not about whether it's good or bad. It's about, is this truth? Actually, it's what comes through for me. Is it true to me? Is it true to what I want to say? And I can never get to that space when I'm in my head. Never. Because I'm always second guessing myself. And that's when I become fearful about what people think. And I'm still there all the time. I'm still there all the time. I just now know the difference.
Yeah. And that's an important thing as well, that to be able to teach other people, coach other people to understand as well, because the true working is that the mind's in service to the heart's in service to the formless one, whatever you call it, whether it be source, universe, God, whatever, it's all the same thing.
Right.
So that's kind of the workings of it. And you encompass that in how you work, but can you just tell people how you work with people, you coach and work with them when they come to you?
I've been working as a coach for about 10 years, and I have tools. I've studied your NLP, and I've studied this, and I've studied that, and the 3 principles, and all of that. And I've come to realize that it's actually 3 guiding principles that I use actually in life. I use it in coaching. I use it when I create, and they are so simple because really it's a state of being. And they're called, I'll share them with you and our audience, is to be present. To be present. We all know about that. Most of us haven't heard, or if not read the book, The Power of Now. To me, it's be present. Be present with what's actually real for you right now in this moment. whether it's real or not, right? What are you noticing right now? So this is all about noticing and not running away from whatever it is you're noticing. And then be present. So then when we notice what we're noticing, we suddenly start to judge all of those things. So the second key is to be kind. Simple. It's so simple. Is to be kind and loving and compassionate to ourselves and each other as well. It starts with ourselves. And then the third one is to be curious. And this is sometimes what we do is we're present and then we're kind to ourselves, but then curiosity comes in and we start to analyze. Well, you know, the word analyze has got anal in it. so what we do, and I'm very good at this, is we go in our heads and we try and analyze what's going on. And that's where I see curiosity differently. Curiosity for me is a state of wonder. It's like, wow, I wonder. And immediately when you say those words, you get into a different space. It is the wonder that's answered by your heart and not by your head. And so those are the keys, and I bring them in my coaching. And by that I mean it's actually how I like to show up as a coach. So to bring myself in that state. And by doing that, I help people go there as well. And that's the place of magic, really. Anything can happen there. Anything. Yeah,
absolutely. Because it is a space that is nothing and yet everything at the same time.
A bit like time, right?
Yes.
Nothing and everything at the same time. Yeah, it is. And it's so hard to describe because it is it's not something you can touch, as you say. You know, it's nothing and everything. And so it has to be experienced. But I'm sure we all have experienced it because it's kind of like a state of gratitude. Okay? It's when we're connected to ourselves and when we remember what is important. And that's kind of what I help people do. I help people remember what is important, because quite often people come to me with questions of overwhelm, time management. I can't tell you how many people want time management. That's because we're overwhelmed and we're trying to do, well, too much, let's face it. But because everything is important. And when everything is important, how do you then discern what is essential? Mm-hmm. So that is, you can't find that from here. You've got to go here. And that's why I had to learn that, and I have to learn that every minute of every day, the same as anybody else. But once you know the difference, you know the different energy, you know, even you guys have seen me in drama. Yeah, you go there. It's what we do, isn't it? And then to bring yourself back is the key. Yeah.
It's like those moments of moments of overwhelm, or it's like moments of dark experience as well. Through experiencing those kind of trauma moments, if you like, you also connect with the pureness of the light or the oneness and that wonder space, and that gratitude. And it takes you to a higher place of understanding.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And that's why all the tools in the world will not get you there, but they may help you to see a different perspective. So I don't want to poo-poo the tools at all, because they can be incredibly helpful to understand some consciousness. But most of the time, all what we want really, what we need desperately, is to be heard, to be witnessed, to be seen, and to be felt. And even when I work with company leaders, and they come in with a big problem, when we have a moment where you're in that space of silence, actually none of that really matters. The problem's gone because it doesn't even exist. Because the question might not have even been the right one. And if it was, then the answer presents itself when it needs to. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is what humanity as a whole needs to learn, the power of silence, the power of stillness. And
Hard.
it's, yeah,
But it's a simple truth,
it
isn't it?
is.
I think you're right. It is a simple truth. And this is why to be present is one of my keys, because in presence you reconnect. But it's uncomfortable because you don't want to feel the pain. You don't want to feel the discomfort.
Yeah. A lot of people find initially, because you've got to clean out, a lot of people find the initial truth disturbing, and they don't want to initially look at it, do they?
This is why kindness, this is out of the three, what people need the most is kindness. It's kindness, it's love, it's compassion, it's pure kindness, no judgment. And it's because we are our own worst critics, because we have been taught well.
Yeah, we've been conditioned very well through other people's experiences, haven't we? And you know what they want us to be, if you like, when from being very small. And then it's like you have to discover who you rediscover
Right.
who you are.
Absolutely. I think that's what most of us are trying to do for most of our life, right? To get back to who we are. And yeah, who are you? You introduced me as an artist. Yes, I am. But 2 years ago, I wasn't. And I was.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing, isn't it? To start to understand you are it the moment you choose it.
And it's wonderful as well, an important point that from the beginning of the interview when I introduced you as a creative artist, you connected with how you always coloured in when you were a child, and going to the sense of gratitude that you spoke about, the wow factor, the wonder moments. I always refer to that as childlike wonder.
Right.
Because it is that going back to that kind of where everything was wonderful and awesome, and it's interesting how when you reconnected with that on a deeper level, you suddenly could be an artist again. Even more so than you probably were as a child. You were instantly drawing.
Right. Exactly. And as a child, yeah, absolutely. That's all I wanted to do. In fact, I met a very old friend of mine who we actually met when we were 4, something like that, and we're still really good friends now. And when I started on this artistic journey that I'm going through right now, she said, yes, and I'm not surprised, because whenever I visited your house, all you were doing is you're sitting at the table and you were coloring. That's what you were doing. And I have no recollection of that. I have no recollection of that. Interestingly enough, what I have recollection of is winning prizes. And that just shows something, doesn't it? It shows that I had a real need to be okay. Even as a child, quite young. I needed that recognition at some level, because I was must have been quite insecure in that sense. And that's such a huge difference now. I am older, so that helps. But I think the real key is total letting go of the judgment of whether art is good or bad. Art is not good or bad. It's always about truth. And the moment I got that, I really got that, I heard that, I felt it, is when it became so much easier and it started flowing. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And you touched on a very important point there. Humanity's need for recognition, to be acknowledged, to be seen.
one of our human needs. Certainty and significance. Well, there's a number of others, but these are the two key things. If I look at the clients that I work with as well, if a client has challenges in some ways, we quite often what we're finding is that there is a need for significance and there's a need for certainty, and there is a need from a place of lack, so we're trying to fulfill it from a place of lack rather than understanding that actually there is abundance. And if we're actually approaching and getting significance and getting a sense of certainty, understanding that actually life is pretty abundant, that the lack is perceived, then it can turn itself round, and it becomes a very, very different way of feeding those needs. You won't be doing it from a fearful place, but you'll be doing it from a, as you said, joyful place.
Yeah, joyful place. Yeah, and that heartfelt place, which is where you come from. You're the Heartworker. So
right, and quite interesting what you just said now. I just did a video this week for my community, and the video is about how do you value yourself? And with my videos, what I usually do is actually think about what is it actually that I think about that. What part of me is still struggling with that? And what I realized is when I was looking for a tagline for the Heartworker for my doodle art, for when I sell it and my products, I was looking for something that would describe it really simply. And I went around the houses with it, and in the end, the word simply, right, was already there. And the word heartfelt was there. And it became simply heartfelt. And the thing is with that, this is what I find so funny. My brain immediately went, yeah, but that's too simple. That's not good enough. What does that mean? And I realized that actually the old me, as I like to think of it, doesn't value simply heartfelt because it's not intelligent. And I grew up valuing intelligence and everything to do with that, not understanding that intelligence comes in different ways, But so we're so conditioned to think like and judge and value things with those old patterns that I'm sure you've spoken to many, many other, interviewees about. But I see that in myself still. It comes in layers by even just as simple as trying to find a tagline. Like, wow, I'm judging that. That can't be good enough. But it is perfect because it's truth. That's why it's right. Yeah. That is what I am. I am simply heartfelt. And that is what comes through. So why call it anything else? It was basically I'm saying I didn't want to be me. Right? I didn't value that. Yeah. When I saw that again, I'm like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that happens with so many of us as well. It's because, society kind of imposes so many things onto us that it takes sometimes the real harsh truth of that sort of judgment to really, as I say, the negatives, if you want to call them that, put you in touch with the pure positives in the counterpoint.
Yeah. If you're willing to go, if you're willing to see, if you're willing to be present with it and willing to look at it with love. Yeah.
That's an important point of restoration process as well, I think, with humanity, is the recognition of just to love more. And if they've you know, feel so closed off from that, just as you said as well, just to initially be kind to one another and then go and see what comes up with that. Because once you make the choice, all these little judgments and things that we've put ourselves down with just naturally pop up anyway, like the layers of an onion to come off, don't they?
Keep going, I'm sure, until I die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the ability to stick with it, I think. But I think because I've seen quite a lot of people start on a journey and then as soon as they've hit a fence, they stop.
Yeah.
Say, oh, that's not worked. Yeah. So what if you come across that with how you work? What do you do with it?
You mean with clients or with myself?
Oh, well.
Both, probably.
Both, yes, because it could be very different either way, yeah.
Well, from a coach perspective, I think I can never want it more than my client.
Mm.
So that's, I'd like to say that up front. So I'm not somebody who pushes or pulls the client. It's my way of working would be to show the light, really.
Yeah.
There's the light and you have choice. Really, that's it. The only thing is to remind people that they have choice and they don't have to jump, and it's okay not to jump because it may not be the right time for them. And I really feel quite strongly about that. And why is that? Because probably I hate to be pushed or pulled myself. I'm very stubborn, so I can totally appreciate that in another. And I think, no, you might be saying the right thing, but it's just not right time for me right now. And so why would my client not, you know, have that same privilege, right?
Exactly.
But all I do is show the light, and I suppose a really important point is, if that's happening in their life and they're struggling with that, there is no doubt in my mind that at some level that's mirrored in mine, because that's just how it works in life. So my job then is to actually work on myself in that, even in the call. I don't know if you must be familiar with Ho'oponopono. Right, I've really started to actively work with that. It's a prayer of forgiveness and compassion for those who are not familiar with it, but you must have already shared that. So it's something that I really brought into my life when I was struggling with my doggy and had anxiety about it. And it's really a place of being able to let go of control, because that's all everything is, isn't it? It's letting go of control, the trust in whatever it is you want to call it, and to take the next best step forward. And that makes life quite simple, actually. It doesn't make it easy. It definitely doesn't always make it easy, but it does make it really simple.
Yeah, yeah. And it does bring ease and grace into it as you go through, because at first it tends to bring everything up, doesn't it? And then it gets less and less, and then the ease and the grace and everything else comes and flows in with it.
Until you forget, and then you're back. And so we go.
Yeah, always at work.
Yeah, but I find it interesting and fun, because it's a space of learning and growth, and that is another place that's another human need that we want fulfilled, and it allows me to give back a little bit more.
Yeah, and there's so many areas where the give and receive as well shows itself, isn't there? It's like what you were saying before about how a client may show something, but in a way they're actually giving you a reflection of something in yourself. So it's like, oh, I'll receive that and go and do bits with that. Yeah.
This is why sometimes I think maybe I should just stop being a coach. All I need to do is just work on that reflection constantly. That's probably the best way to be in service. But I also know that it's very helpful to have somebody in your corner who holds your back, who loves you absolutely 100%, and who gives you the space to be without you having to do or be anything. That is worth a lot. That's gold dust. I think that's a lot needed. I think we need that, don't we, in this busy life?
Yeah.
Which is why
Yeah.
I'm there and work as a coach and continue to work on myself. I don't see it as work. I just see it as living.
Yes.
Learning to be human with more grace. Learning to be more graceful.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to the recognition aspect that humanity is asking for, if you like, and it's something that Heather and I share as well, is mana, which is eye to eye, heart to heart, soul to soul. I see you.
Yeah.
And it's the recognition that humanity needs right now. And that's, in a nutshell, what you give to people.
And what you give with your platform, with your work as well, is the ability to be seen.
Yes.
And seen. Yeah. To be heard and heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's the recognition of the authentic, the truth that we've beautifully spoken of. That's, you've put in a nutshell there what this is about, that pure truth, that recognition. And it's such a joy to have you here and sharing your beauty with us and your wonderful art. Creativity.
That's not mine, by the way. It's by a lovely lady called Charlotte Turner. I like to call it the Charlotte Turner. I laugh. I'm sure she inspired me in some way with that.
Well, actually, because when I first saw it, I asked you if it was yours, because I just the way some of the lines are. Yeah.
But I fear not. No. I use an iPad. I haven't got progressed yet to paint. And iPad's very forgiving, you see. But for me, it comes back to creativity and art, isn't it? It's nothing more. I think this is life, really. It's an explanation of life. It's nothing more than just showing up and expressing what your heart wants to say. And that is whether you do that by creating a business or whether you do that by creating art or anything else. It's, are you expressing what your heart wants to express? And if you're not doing that, there will be a little part of you that will go and your soul will be knocking. You'll be knocking, and if you're not listening, your body will sure as heck tell you sooner or later. Yeah.
Listen. It's certainly true. Oh, so fabulous. And it's just a joy sharing with you today.
Same here.
Is there anything else that you really feel that you need to share with everybody about who you are and how you work with people?
Well, I will share, because you said have not anything to show where my art, but actually what I forgot to share with you is my first image and how I got started. And I do want to share that because it was the image on my book.
Yes.
And it is this is a really good sign for if you don't know, what you want to do in life and who you want to be in life. I would say just follow the breadcrumbs, right? Just follow the light, follow the breadcrumbs. This is something that happened because I wrote my book, The Art of Contribution, but I couldn't find an image that fit the front page. And I went through hundreds and hundreds, and I just couldn't, comes back to truth. I couldn't choose one that actually was genuinely saying, this is what I wanted to say. And I thought, let me just put it down on paper. This is what I wanted to say. It's like, I stand for contribution. I stand for making a difference in the world. I stand for, that's what I stood for. I had no idea what it meant at that time, but I really, I stood for it. And I doodled it. And look at it, seriously. I mean, that's rubbish, right? That's not very good. What my brain would say. But my heart says it's perfect, because that's exactly what I wanted it to say. And I just wanted to show that to those who think, well, I can't draw, or those who think, well, I can't be this or I can't be that. That's why we were there earlier as well. You can. The only thing you have to do is to let go of what you think it should be. Yeah. And just go there with some fun, with playfulness, with joy and curiosity, and lots of kindness for yourself.
Play like a child.
Yeah. And Shona, always such joy to be with you. You exude joy, and Heather, lovely to meet you.
Oh, it's always lovely to spend time with you as well, Anne. And if anybody wants to connect with Anne, you can see all her links and things through our website, itsatoughworldouthere.com, and you can connect with her and connect with your wonder and your creativity and splash out.
I love that.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you both for having me here.